What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to do another lake breakdown. This time we're going out to Arkansas and we're going to take a look at a pretty small lake called Lake Erling. You can see here on the interactive map, I'm out here on Arkansas Fish and Wildlife page. You can see here on the interactive map kind of where this lake is located. Let's see if I can zoom this thing out a little bit and you kind of see where we're at in the state. It's taking my internet a minute. There's Highway 49 over there. So you can kind of see where we're at, kind of in the middle, not middle of Arkansas, but let's see if I can get some borders here. But nice, there we go, southeast Arkansas. So actually that's not too far from me. You know, I'm right over here. I could probably get over there fairly quickly. Maybe I can go check this lake out. All right, let's scroll down and let's see what this lake has to offer. You can see here, it's in the county of Lafayette. Hopefully I said that right. Fish species in this lake are bass, brim, catfish, and crappie. Now I did do some more just investigating on the lake to see what other types of fish they might have or anything popular about this fish. The main thing that I'm seeing about this lake is definitely brush piles. If you can find the brush piles, those are going to be great places to fish. And it looks like this is a really big crappie lake. So if you like fishing for crappie, you may want to go check this one out. Now there is some interesting stuff about this lake as well, and we're getting ready to talk about it. So let's look at this description really quick. It says Lake Erling is a 7,100 acre lake located in Lafayette County, southeast of Louisville. This lake was built in 1956 by the International Paper Company and was a water supply lake for its mill in Spring Hill, Louisiana. The max depth is 23 feet and the average depth is 7.5 feet. So this is a fairly shallow lake for sure. In 2013, the ownership of Lake Erling was transferred from International Paper Company to the American Game Bird Research Education and Development Foundation. Man, that's a long one. AGRED. Traditionally, Lake Erling has also had a nuisance aquatic vegetation issues. Prior to 2019, aquatic vegetation like alligator weed or water primrose were considered problematic. In December of 2018, giant salvinia was discovered on Lake Erling in a cove on the west side of the lake, directly across from Cummings Camp. If you don't know anything about the giant salvinia, or I'm not even saying, know if I'm even saying that right, but that is very, very troublesome for the water. It can cover up the water very quickly, so it's definitely going to be a problem. It says that they did do a winter drawdown in 2020. However, several remnants of the major hurricanes came through the area in late summer and fall and rapidly raised the water levels above normal pool. So now, in the last 2 years since its discovery, the giant salvinia has spread to nearly all areas of Lake Erling. So this is interesting when I read this, because when I went out and looked at it on Google Earth, I never really saw the water draw down that much. But I did see where they did draw it down, so you could see where they drew it down, but it wasn't that much. But what is interesting is now when we go over, and we're going to switch over, we're actually going to use the Simplistic Fishing Mobile App to do this breakdown, because the map box image for this lake actually shows this lake being way, way down. And I would imagine they're drawing that lake down to try to kill off some of this aquatic vegetation. So anyways, with all that being said, let's switch over. Again, instead of using Google Earth, this time we're going to switch over and we're just going to use the mobile app because it has better imaging than I can find on Google Earth. So we'll switch over, we'll take a look at what this lake has to offer. I think you guys are going to like it. Let's go. Okay, so we've now switched over to the Simplistic Fishing Mobile App, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this lake using the app instead of using Google Earth like we usually do and then the Navionics mobile app, because pretty much we've got all of that combined in this app now. But the main reason is because the satellite imagery that we get from Mapbox here on the app is actually more updated or current than what we have on Google Earth. And from this lake, when you're looking at it, it makes a huge, huge difference. So let's go down here and let's select the south region. And then I'm going to scroll down and find Lake Erling. So we're going to keep going. There's Lake Erling. So we're going to click on that. And then after we click on Lake Erling, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here to where it says waypoints. And then this is going to bring up all the waypoints for Lake Erling in the map box view. And so this is what I wanted to show you guys, because check this out. So see these red marks that are up here? These red marks are tracks. And so what we do when we map out these lakes is we draw the water down as far as we can get it down, and then we put these tracks in there to show you guys exactly where the channels are. And if you're a bass fisherman or a crappie fisherman, you know that where these bends are really, really key places to find fish. So like if we're looking at the screen right here, you notice these bends down here on the lower right-hand side. You've got some really good bends there that you could go check out. And then right there in the kind of the middle of the screen, you've got a pretty good channel bend there too. And really what you want to look for is you always want to look for these tracks where they swing up against stuff. And if you can find it where it swings up against a point or something like that, that's going to make it a really, really, really good spot to be in. But the main thing I wanted to show you here is look where those red tracks are and look where they stop. And then look how much further the lake has been drawn down since I actually saw this image. So if I zoom in here, that creek channel right there is definitely exposed. We can see exactly where those channels are, and that makes it to where we know exactly where to fish, right? We can be able to hone in on the key spots that are there. So having this is really, really cool. And especially, you know, if I was out here on Erling, you'd see a little GPS dot of exactly where we were. And so if you had the app, you'd know exactly where this channel was. You could go and sit right in the middle of them and get on those bends and those turns. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to mark it on my app and then transfer it in. So we're just gonna have to go with this imagery that we have now, and hopefully Google Earth will update their imagery and I can mark all those tracks for you. So let's go ahead and let's just finish that off. Let's take a look at some of these other creeks that are coming here because they're really, really good. Look at the really good turns that we have here. And even on this left side, you've got a little creek that goes through here. So you can see it's got nice, good little turns as well. And then you've got a pretty clear one that comes right off that point that looks like we didn't even see based on what we were able to see, you know, on what we could get from the Google Earth side. Let's scroll on down. We've got some ramps that are down here, but let's really look at these tracks real quick. Here's another creek channel back here. Again, you can see where I could only get to the end of that track, but look at that. I mean, that is an awesome creek channel back there. Lots of good turns, lots of good stuff back there. So you would definitely want to go back and take advantage of that, knowing exactly where those turns are. Anywhere you get those big turns, you want to take a look at them. This right in here, right where it turns and swings up against the point right there, guarantee you that's going to be a good spot to go find fish. That spot right there looks really, really good. All right, but I wouldn't be able to uncover that if the water wasn't down, right? So here's all the other stuff that we have. We got some laydowns, we got some tracks that are back here too, some ditches. Nothing as crazy as what we just saw, and I think that was about it from those tracks. There's another one that's up here. This one we could have followed, you know, we can take it all the way out now into that bay. So that gives you a nice little ditch, nice little creek channel that gets way out there into that flat. Scroll on down, see if there's anything else down here. There's one more, maybe over here. We've got a pretty good little channel here, but in this case, it doesn't even hardly show it there. So interesting. All right, so let's do this. Let's go up here to this little hamburger menu. Actually, before we do that, we're gonna go to the settings on the right, and we're gonna do filter waypoints. And let's just show you how we have this thing broken down. So you've kind of seen so far, you know, all the different waypoints that are out there, but we've got brush. So if you wanted to just see the brush, we can click this, and this shows us where the brush piles were that we were able to find. So you can see we've got one right here. I'll click on it and give you little coordinates. We've got another one that's right here off this little point. Got some more back in here. And then we've got a couple more down here to the right. We already looked at one of those, and then this other one is right in here by this dock. So a couple different areas with brush were we able to find. We also have these areas that we call, we just say check, and it means that we saw something there, but we weren't really sure what it was. So probably some type of debris or something, but you definitely want to go check it out. Could be brush piles, could be all kinds of stuff. You just never know. Like right here, I wanted you to check this because probably it looks somewhat like a hard spot that's right there. And almost like there's a little pond back in there. But anyways, check that. That looks like a really good spot, especially coming out here off of that drain. There's another spot back there I wanted you to check because it looked like, you know, it might have a little channel back in there or something you can get to. I don't even know if you can get back in there, but hopefully you can. And then just a couple other spots, right? Checking these spots. These are basically going to be looking at some of these that are out here a little bit further, potential hard spots, potential shells, stuff like that, you know, things that I wanted you guys to look at. So that's kind of all the stuff that was the check, the mysterious stuff that I don't know what it is. Then we've got debris, or debris, sorry, I don't know why I said debris, but the debris is basically going to be like your brush piles and like your checks too, right? It's going to be stuff that's around these docks and things that we're just not sure what it is, some type of debris, but you know if there's debris out on these flats, these fish love them. You can see these different spots here. I'm just kind of showing you randomly different areas on the lake where we found that debris. There's some more down here by this dock as well. I'm sure these dock owners love that. And then you could even get back, way back here in this flat, there's some debris down back here by this dock that's back here. If you can get back there now, I don't know how far the water is down right now. All right, so that's all our debris. Let's keep going. We got ditches. We talked about the channels. I don't know how many ditches we actually marked. We got a couple different ditches that we marked here, but now that we can see those channels, those ditches probably aren't as valuable with that water being down. So we'll take those out. We've got lots of different laydowns throughout the lake, or not that many, but a couple different areas. So if you're just fishing laydowns, you could come down through here and just run down and hit all the different laydowns. Now with the water being down, these laydowns are likely all out of the water right now until the water comes back up. As you can see, especially these laydowns that get close to these creek channels, like if you see a bunch of laydowns, you see a creek channel, and you see a bunch of laydowns close to the creek channel, you want to fish those for sure. Like right in here, you got a creek channel with some laydowns that are up in here. I really like this area. Man, that this looks juicy. Look how far that water is down. That is just craziness. All right, then we've got, pull that off. We're going to go to the ponds. There's only one pond, I think, that I identified on this whole lake. But I'm going to pull this back, and that's going to be down here to the right, southeast side. You can see this nice little pond that's right here. It's got a nice little ditch that goes into it. It's got a little creek channel that goes through there that we talked about earlier. So it could be a place, you know, they kind of hop off, a nice little deep spot for them to chill out in. Could find a little pond dam in there somewhere, or maybe a little break somewhere on that pond dam. And those are really going to be real good places to find. So let's pull that up. I'll give you guys little coordinates on that one as well. And then I'm going to go back, take off that pond. We can talk about ramps, but basically, I mean, I'll show you really quick all the different ramps that are on here. There's probably not that many. But this can be a really good pattern to run, especially on these shallower lakes and lakes that don't have a lot of rock. We haven't talked about the rock on this lake, but I'm pretty sure this lake doesn't have very much rock. So these are concrete slabs, right? And they attract those little tiny bait fish and microfish and stuff like that. And then that attracts the bigger bait fish. And then, of course, you know what's coming. The bass are eventually on that tree are going to show up. Being on a boat ramp pattern can actually pay off, especially in the spring. So check it out. If you don't want to do the boat ramp pattern, no problem. At least you know where all the ramps are in case you're in the need of an emergency or something like that. But ramps and slabs can definitely be a good place to find fish, especially bass. All right, now let's take a look at the rocks real quick. Like I said, there wasn't too many areas where rocks. It's mainly the shallow stuff down here by the dam. There's some shallower stuff over here. You know, the rocks by these bridges and stuff are going to be key. This area right here, which we may not have gotten to yet, but that could be really, really good. See where that old roadbed is? It looks like an old roadbed. Right where that opening is, they love to get attracted around those little points and stuff like that where those little openings are. So check that out. If you're back here fishing the rock, make sure to come over here and check out that little roadbed that's back there. Something that I probably wasn't able to see originally, and you can see all the different little shallow rocky areas that are here. So not too much there. The good stuff is right here though. Let's go over here. Well, we got stumps and we got tires. So let's hit both of those really quick. We've got some different areas where people have put out tires. So here's one off this point right here. We've got some more up here. These would be more for your crappie fishermen, but we got some tires that are up here. We got some more over here and hit this area as well. So a couple different areas where you got some tires. There's some more back here as well. And then there's stumps back here. Hopefully you can get back here with the water being so low, but you got some really good stumps that are back here, right here in this area, right here along this Highway 160. So definitely go back there and take a look at it. I like where that point sets up too, and then you've got a nice little creek channel running through there too that could be pretty helpful. All right, so last thing, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna take this off. We're gonna click on Offshore. And that's going to show us all the offshore spots. You're like, man, that's not really, as good as I want. It's cool that you show the offshore stuff, but I can't tell why in the world would you pick these spots as offshore. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to this hamburger menu. This is brand new stuff that we just added. We partnered up with Navionics, Garmin, to offer HD contours. So I'm going to click on this contour button, and when I do that, you're going to see this pop up, and now we can tell why we picked those areas. So let's just look at some of these offshore spots, and really what we're going to notice is a lot of this is related to that creek channel. Now what's crazy is here we are on Navionics, we can't see that creek channel, right? The only way we could have been able to see that creek channel was when we went back and we looked at the satellite image. Now we can kind of see that creek channel, but I'm going to click back on contours here. Let's just look at a couple of these places that we picked. So like right here, really good little hump or something that's going on here. It's about 7 foot on top and 14 foot on the bottom. It'd be interesting to see if that's really close to that creek channel. Let's go back at the satellite view and let's look at it. I bet that channel comes down through there somewhere. You can tell there's some kind of swing or something going on right there where that offshore spot is. So that's one of them. Let's go ahead and click that. I'll give you guys the coordinates for it. Now you can see as you go down through here, you can kind of follow the creek channel, but it's a little bit tough. But look right here, we got a nice little bend right here, a nice little hump that's out here at 8 foot, drops down to about 16 foot. That one looks juicy as well. You're gonna want to really pay attention to those creek channels. Right here, you got a really interesting spot. You got a couple different things going on here. I put offshore here, but there's really 1, 2, 3 different spots. So let's talk about them. So the one right off the point on the left-hand side, that would be a good area to scan. And then you're going to kind of go through that saddle, and on the other side, it looks like you've got a little break. You're going from 9 to 15 foot. So it could be good on the right side instead of the left side. And then if it's not good there, scroll on down just a hair and go down to where that hump is at 8 foot on the south side and see if maybe they're hanging around that hump. So a really, really good area to go see if you can find some offshore stuff. Be a good spot to start. You're not that far offshore, but you're offshore. Another good spot down in there off this point would be a really good area. You know you've got some creek channel swings and some crazy stuff going on here with these contours, but that looks really good as well. Looks like it could be a really good point to fish off of. It also looks like a point that likely some of the locals have probably put some stuff out there for you, because that would be a good spot to put some offshore brush piles and stuff like that. Now as we scroll down, we've got some pretty good points that are out here again. You can see those. We've got some humps that are over here. This one looks really good. There's another one just south that you could check out too. See if you like that one, especially if that first one does. This one on the south actually probably should have marked it, because if you look right here, the creek channel, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll put the arrow here to kind of follow it that goes down, but it kind of squirrels around. But you can see it hits this last hump. It almost looks like an island that looks like it comes all the way out of the water. It's at 1 foot, but right there on that southwest side of that island could be really, really good. Moving on down, we got some more offshore stuff out here, really good points. We go down, we get a little bit deeper, right? Get deeper down in here to the dam. Let's just pick a couple more spots. Let's go down here and let's look at this. We've got some pretty interesting little mini ledges, I guess you could say, out here. We're at 17 foot going to, what, 20 foot? Then we've got another one right here. So it makes me think there's some type of a creek channel that's going on right here where you see all these offshore spots. Let's click on one of them. I'll show you one of those right there. So come out here and scan around these little turns and bends and see what you can find out there. You've also got some really good points that are over here. Notice, again, you can see that creek channel kind of going there. You can see the different color as soon as it comes back. You can see the different color there. That darker color where it's 22 foot, 24 foot, that's the creek channel. So anywhere that creek channel comes close, those are going to be really good spots. Now the point at the north, it could be good, but it probably doesn't look as good as those last two. So this one in the middle right here, this one looks like it could be juicy. It's got the creek channel coming right up against it. That one could be good. And then going down, you've got the creek channel making a bend right before that point. That one could be a good one as well. All right, guys, so that's about it. I'll end it on that, but hopefully that gives you guys a pretty good overview of Lake Erling out in Arkansas. As you saw, we have several different lakes that are out there on the Simplistic Fishing Mobile App. We've got all these in the South region that we've started to add. And of course, we're going to add even more. And if you're wondering what the South region is, you can see here it's Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. We've also got several other regions out there for you guys to check out as well. And then of course, if you want these on your graph, you can always go out to the simplisticfishing.com website and pick up your SD cards or your digital files for your graphs and have the same stuff that we covered today out on your fishing graphs while you're on the water. So make sure to go check it out. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.